My female stalker married my best friend. He had no clue she'd been following me for a year until she smirked, "We're family now." What I did next made her lose her mind. Subreddit, throwaway. Because I enjoy having a life that doesn't involve depositions and awkward explanations at holiday dinners about why my best friend's ex-wife isn't allowed within 100 yards of me. Late January. My best friend Gavin calls me sounding like he just won the lottery. He's engaged. I'm hyped for him at first. Gavin's one of those guys who's annoyingly solid. Returns shopping carts, tips, well, actually means it when he asks how you're doing. Remembers birthdays without social media reminding him. Shows up to help you move without being asked twice. We've been ride or die since high school. 14 years of friendship. The kind where you'd help him hide a body without asking questions. Just show up with gloves and a shovel. That's the trust we had. Then he sends me a photo. My stomach dropped like someone cut the elevator cable. It's Kelsey, smiling, holding up a ring. Head tilted like butter wouldn't melt. Same calculated eyes I'd been documenting for 11 months. Same smile that had been tracking me across coffee shops and gyms and grocery stores for almost a year. She didn't just follow me. She found the one person I'd always trust. Before anyone says I'm overreacting, here's the timeline. I, 28 male, met Kelsey at a buddy's birthday party almost a year earlier. February. One of those house parties where everyone knows everyone except for a handful of randoms. She was attractive in that, definitely has a burner phone and a secret folder dedicated to you kind of way. Something off about her eyes. Like she was doing math while smiling at you. She laughed way too hard at jokes that weren't funny. Stayed in my personal space. Asked questions like she was filling out a background check. Where do you work? What gym? What's your routine? What car? Where do you get your hair cut? I'm a boring Atlanta area insurance adjuster, making 65 grand. Gym before work, numbers all day, weekends with friends, no mysterious vibe to misread. Nothing that screams, please obsess over me, which is why Kelsey picking me as her hobby project made no sense. I didn't do anything with her that night. Barely talked beyond basic pleasantries. Left early because her vibe screamed, future police report. 2 days later, Instagram follow, standard, then LinkedIn, red flag. Then she followed my gym, literally. Tuesday morning, 6 a.m., Planet Fitness. There she is, one treadmill away, hood up like she's in witness protection. I finished my cardio. She finished same time. I moved to weights. She drifted to machines near me. Never made eye contact. Just orbited like a broken satellite. That's when I started keeping score. When you're a guy and you say, this girl is stalking me, people treat it like a humble brag. That changes when you start showing them timestamps. Phase 1 was sightings. Spring was her mapping my entire existence. First, it was my gym. Same Planet Fitness, same time every morning. Always one machine away from me. Then my coffee shop, showing up 3 minutes after me every single time, like she'd synchronized her watch to mine. Always ordering something complicated. Always glancing my direction while she waited. Then the dog park where I was dog-sitting my buddy's golden retriever. She didn't even have a dog. Just sat on a bench for 45 minutes watching me throw a tennis ball, like she'd paid admission to the show. By March, she'd stopped even pretending it was coincidence. I switched my gym time from 6 a.m. to 7 p.m. She adjusted within 3 days. Tried a different coffee shop across town. She was there the next morning. Every test I ran, she passed like she had my calendar synced to hers. By late summer, she'd given up on subtlety entirely. She'd stand close enough that I could feel her watching, then do that fast look-away thing if I turned around. Sometimes she'd take photos, not selfies. Photos of me. Like I was the subject, and she was building documentation. I'd catch her holding up her phone, angling it toward me, zooming in on my face from across the gym. She wasn't even embarrassed when I stared directly at her. She just kept going like I was public property. Phase 2 was messages. Summer was her narrating my life back to me like she had a front row seat. Not hey, not how are you. Nothing a normal human sends to someone they barely know. Always commentary. Always observations I never asked for. You look tired today. Maybe you should sleep more. You should switch protein brands. That one's trash for lean muscle. You were friendlier to the blonde cashier than you are to me. Interesting choice. Your haircut looks better than last month. Good call on the fade. You skipped the gym yesterday. Everything okay? That's not like you. I never told her my protein brand. Never mentioned my schedule or where I got my haircut. Never talked about the cashier I'd spoken to for 30 seconds about weather. I blocked her. She made new accounts with random names and numbers. Sunflower_vibes_28, quiet underscore observer underscore 7743, peaceful underscore watcher, underscore 2891, impossible to screen before she'd already sent something. I changed gyms entirely, switched to a different location 25 minutes from my apartment. She showed up there too. 3 days after I switched. At one point, I got a new phone number. Told almost nobody. Just family, my closest friends, and essential work contacts. A week later, I got a text from an unknown number that just said, "New number. Cute." My blood went cold when I read that. The message was crystal clear. There was no escaping her attention. She wanted me to feel hunted. I'm an analyst by trade. I spend my days organizing data, investigating claims, tracking patterns. I've seen enough insurance fraud cases to know exactly how evidence needs to be presented to hold up under scrutiny. So I applied that same energy to Kelsey. If it didn't have a timestamp, it didn't happen. Screenshots of every message. Dates and times of every sighting logged with exact location details. Every photo I caught her taking, documented with my own photos. I was building a legal case with the kind of documentation that holds up in court. Not because I was scared, because people like Kelsey don't just stop on their own. They escalate until someone makes them stop. Then came the confrontation. 3 days after the new number text, she was waiting in my gym lobby when I walked out. Just standing there by the front desk, blocking the exit, smiling at me like we were old friends who'd planned to meet. I pulled out my phone, started recording. "You need to stop following me." She blinked. That fake innocent look like she didn't know what I was talking about. "I'm just working out. This is a public gym. Stop contacting me. Stop showing up at places I go. This is your warning. Next is police." Her smile didn't fade. It got wider, like she enjoyed watching me finally react. "You're being dramatic. I'm just trying to be friendly. Do not contact me again." I walked past her, phone still recording, and went straight to my car. Sat there for 10 minutes documenting everything. Time, date, location, what she said, what I said. Witnesses at the front desk who saw the whole thing. Then I drove to a lawyer's office. That recording, that confrontation, that's what gave me legal standing. Evidence of direct contact after I'd explicitly told her to stop. Proof she was following me. Not coincidentally running into me. 2 days later, I sent a cease and desist letter via certified mail. Cost me about $350 with the consultation and filing, but worth every cent. The letter was legally precise. Do not contact me in any form. Do not approach me. Do not come to my residence or workplace. Any further contact will be considered harassment and pursued through legal channels. Signed by a lawyer. Sent with tracking. She signed for it 4 days later. I have the green card proving she received it. That letter established legal notice. Every move she made after that point wasn't just creepy anymore. It was actionable. Phase 3 was physical proof and direct attacks on my life. Late summer. Someone left a Polaroid under my windshield wiper. My assigned parking spot at home. Photo of me at the gym, taken from behind a weight rack. On the back, written in neat handwriting. Good form, bad attitude. She'd driven to my apartment complex, walked through my parking lot in the dark, found my car, stood there long enough to place it under my windshield wiper without being seen. That took her invading the one place that should have been safe. Congratulations, sweetheart. You're a felon with a scrapbook. I kept that Polaroid, added it to the folder, bought a dash cam for my car, screenshot every message within seconds of receiving it, took photos of her whenever I caught her taking photos of me. I was building a binder that would hold up in court, and she had no idea she was filling it page by page with her own behavior. Phase 4 was her trying to burn my life down. Early fall, HR called me in. Someone had filed an anonymous complaint claiming I'd been making unwanted advances at a company networking event. I'd never been to that event. I was out of state visiting family that night, had plane tickets and hotel receipts to prove it. I showed HR my documentation spanning months. Screenshots, timeline, the Polaroid, everything I had on her pattern of behavior. They dropped the complaint immediately and logged it as malicious. Then she went after my dating life. I'd been seeing someone named Hannah, maybe 4 or 5 dates in, getting along really well. 1 week in, Hannah texts me. "Your ex reached out and told me you're not over her, and I should be careful. I don't have an ex who would do that. But I had Kelsey." She'd found Hannah on Instagram, messaged her with some fabricated story about how I was obsessive and couldn't let go. Hannah noped out after I showed her the full timeline. Can't blame her for not wanting to date someone with a human surveillance drone attached. That's when I fully realized what Kelsey was doing. She wasn't just obsessed. She was strategic about destroying my ability to move on with my life. She wanted me isolated, paranoid, and reactionary so she could play the victim. I didn't give her that satisfaction. I just kept adding to the folder. Every move she made, every boundary she crossed, building the case that would eventually end this nightmare. What I didn't know, while she was destroying my dating life, she was dating my best friend. I called Gavin immediately after seeing that engagement photo. Didn't even wait 5 minutes. Just called him straight away. Asked how long they'd been dating. 6 months. So around late July. Right when she ramped up the stalking on me. Right when she started showing up more frequently, messaging more aggressively, pushing harder on every boundary. The timing made perfect sense in the worst possible way. She'd been dating my best friend while actively stalking me. Inserted herself into my inner circle through the back door. Found a way in that I never saw coming because I never thought she'd be that patient or that strategic. I told him everything. Sent him the folder. Every screenshot. Every timestamp. The Polaroid with good form, bad attitude written on the back. The new number cute text that proved she'd somehow tracked down my new phone number. The burner accounts with their creepy messages. The HR complaint she'd filed trying to get me fired. The messages that read like she was trying to live inside my brain rent-free. 11 months of evidence thinking surely he'd see what I was seeing. There was this long silence on the phone that stretched into uncomfortable territory. The kind of silence where you can hear the other person breathing, and you know they're trying to figure out what to say. Then he said, I need to think about this. Not, what the heck? Not, I'm calling it off. Not, holy crap, I had no idea. Just silence followed by hesitation. The kind of hesitation that tells you someone's already made up their mind, and they're just looking for reasons to justify it. The kind that tells you the decision was made before you even started talking. That's when I knew I wasn't getting him back. Here's what I didn't know at the time. Kelsey had been playing victim to Gavin for months. She'd told him I'd misread signals at that party where we first met, that I'd been a little too persistent, and she was trying to keep things civil between us, that I'd gotten weird when she started seeing someone new, that she felt unsafe around me but didn't want to cause drama in his friend group because she knew how much he valued those friendships, and she didn't want to be the reason he lost people. She'd painted me as the problem before I even knew she was in his life. She'd spent 6 months laying groundwork, building a narrative, preparing for exactly this moment when I'd inevitably find out and confront him with evidence. So when I showed up with a folder full of proof, I wasn't revealing a stalker. I was confirming her story. To him, I looked obsessed. I looked like the guy who couldn't let go. I looked like exactly what she'd been describing to him for half a year. It was genius in the most evil way possible. She'd inoculated him against the truth before I could deliver it. Gavin met me for coffee 2 days later. He looked tired, worn down, conflicted in a way I'd never seen from him before. He said he believed something happened, but that I might be reading into it, that Kelsey had anxiety, and maybe some of the messages were poorly worded, but not malicious in intent, that the photos could have been coincidental, that lots of people go to Planet Fitness, that maybe she just happened to live nearby and it was all unfortunate timing, that she was working on herself and trying to be better, and he wanted to support her through that. I sat there realizing I was arguing against a narrative she'd spent 6 months building brick by brick. Every piece of evidence I had, she'd already explained away to him. Every red flag I raised, she'd already reframed as anxiety or coincidence or misunderstanding. He wasn't looking at facts. He was looking at 2 conflicting stories from 2 people he cared about, and he'd already chosen which one to believe. He said he loved her, that she made him happy, that he thought I was being protective but maybe too protective, that he appreciated me looking out for him, but he was a grown man who could make his own decisions. Then he hit me with the line that ended it all. I think you need to let this go, man. For everyone's sake. I didn't argue. There was no point. You can't logic someone out of a position they didn't logic themselves into. Cool. Do what you want, but I'm not going to be around for this. He looked surprised, like he expected me to fight harder. I didn't. Paid for my coffee and left. Last real conversation we had for a long time. 3 months later, Gavin got married. Spring wedding. Outdoor venue. Probably beautiful. I wasn't invited. Didn't expect to be. Didn't want to be. I thought that would be the end of it. That she'd gotten what she wanted. Legitimacy. Access to his life. A ring. A new last name. A social position that made her untouchable. She'd won the game she'd been playing, right? Game over. She could move on with her life and leave me alone. I was wrong. Turns out marriage didn't satisfy her. It just gave her cover. Now she wasn't some girl following me. She was Gavin's wife. She did the whole new wife performance, but aimed it like a weapon. She could show up to mutual friends' events and I'd be the jerk if I made it weird. She could be in group photos. She could be at gatherings when I walked in. She was woven into the social fabric now, and pulling her out meant pulling threads that would make me look unhinged. She knew that, and she used it with surgical precision. First time I saw her after the wedding was at a mutual friend's backyard cookout in early summer. I didn't know she'd be there. Nobody warned me. If they had, I wouldn't have gone. I showed up and she was already posted up near the grill, talking to people I'd known for years, laughing at their jokes, playing the role of Gavin's lovely wife like she'd been rehearsing it her whole life. She'd even brought a side dish, potato salad, like a normal person who wasn't a documented stalker with a restraining order in her near future. I kept my distance, didn't engage, didn't even look at her directly, just talked to the people I came to see and minded my own business. Stayed on the opposite side of the yard, kept conversations short, planned to leave early, but she made sure I knew she was there. She'd drift closer whenever I moved, laugh louder when I was nearby, that fake theatrical laugh designed to draw attention, touch Gavin's arm and glance at me at the same time. At one point, she cornered me near the cooler when nobody else was around. People had drifted away to the other side of the yard. It was just us for maybe 30 seconds. That's all she needed. She smiled at me, tilted her head the same way she had at that party over a year ago. We're family now. You know that, right? I looked at her for the first time in months. Really looked at her. Saw nothing behind those eyes except calculation, and the satisfaction of someone who thought they'd gotten away with something. I didn't smile back. Do not contact me. Do not approach me. Stay away from me. She blinked, like she didn't expect that response, like she thought I'd play along now that she had institutional protection. Then she laughed. Not a real laugh. A dismissive one. You're being dramatic. Do not contact me again. Then I left. Didn't make a scene. Didn't explain to anyone why I was leaving early. Didn't pull Gavin aside for a conversation he wouldn't listen to anyway. Just grabbed my stuff and walked out like I'd suddenly remembered an appointment I couldn't miss. Later that night, around 11 p.m., I got a message from an unknown number. You embarrassed me in front of people. That was rude. I was just being friendly. You could at least try to be civil for Gavin's sake. I didn't respond. I screenshotted it within 5 seconds, added it to the folder that was now over 100 pages long. My phone started blowing up 3 days later. Group chat pings. You good? Texts from people I hadn't talked to in weeks. That nervous energy people get when they've seen something ugly and don't know whose side to pick yet. Someone sent me a video. 32 seconds. Shaky phone footage, terrible audio, no context. Just me at that cookout, standing by the cooler, voice clipped and harsh. Do not contact me. Stay away from me. Then, Kelsey's voice, soft and confused. I was just being friendly. Cut to me walking away fast, while she stands there looking small and hurt. That's it. That's the whole clip. You couldn't see her cornering me. Couldn't hear "we're family now," delivered like a threat. Couldn't see the calculation in her eyes when she smiled. Just me looking aggressive and her looking victimized. 32 seconds of social assassination. She'd posted it to a private story, added a caption about feeling unsafe, about trying to make peace with Gavin's friends and getting shut down hard, about not understanding why I hated her so much when she'd only ever tried to be kind. The comments were predictable. That's scary. You okay? Does Gavin know about this? Within 6 hours, mutual friends were going radio silent. Not blocking me. Just that cold, neutral thing people do when they've decided you might be the problem, but don't want to commit to saying it out loud. I didn't defend myself publicly. Didn't post my own explanation. Didn't blast the group chat with context. Because that's what she wanted. She wanted me reactive. Wanted me ranting about timestamps and folders and how I was the real victim here. Wanted me to look unhinged while she played the calm, confused wife who just wanted everyone to get along. I sent one text to the group chat that was lighting up. Video is edited, not discussing here. Edited. Not DM me if you want the full timeline. 3 people DM'd me. 3 out of maybe 15 in that chat. Everyone else just went quiet. Gavin texted me directly an hour later. Why are you doing this to her? She's scared of you. Not, what happened? Not, let's talk. Just accusation dressed up as concern. He'd already decided I was the villain before asking a single question. I sent him one screenshot in response. The text from a year ago. The one that made my blood go cold. New number? Cute. Timestamp showing it came a week after I changed my number. A number I'd given to maybe 8 people total, none of whom would have shared it with her. I added one line. She's been tracking me for over a year. This is one of 100 receipts. Red receipt showed he'd seen it. He didn't respond. 2 days later, Kelsey posted a longer video. 48 seconds this time. Her sitting in her car, eyes a little red, voice shaky and soft, talking about how she'd tried so hard to be welcoming to Gavin's friends, how she knew I'd had a weird reaction to her at that first party, but she thought time would help, how she'd hoped marriage would bring everyone closer, but instead I was making things hostile, and she didn't understand why, how she just wanted peace, performance of a lifetime. She'd practiced that crack in her voice, timed those pauses perfectly, knew exactly how to look vulnerable without looking weak. Comments filled with support. You don't deserve this. Some people are just toxic. Gavin's lucky to have you. That's when I fully understood what she was doing. The goal wasn't just to stalk me. It was to isolate me, cut me off from friends, make me the aggressor in every story. Flip the script so thoroughly that by the time I went legal, she'd already have a dozen character witnesses ready to say I was obsessed, unstable, the real problem. She'd baited me into that confrontation at the cookout knowing she'd record it, edited it down to the harshest moment with zero context, deployed it strategically to turn my own friend group against me before I could prove what she'd been doing. It was calculated, professional, sociopathic. I backed up everything that night, downloaded the videos she posted before she could delete them, screenshot every comment, every share, every message thread, saved metadata showing when she'd filmed and posted, documented which friends had engaged, who'd gone silent, who'd chosen sides without asking questions, added it all to the folder that was now bigger than some people's thesis papers. She tried to assassinate my reputation with a 30-second clip. I decided she was getting a permanent record instead. Next morning, I called a lawyer. The cease and desist I'd sent months earlier had done exactly what it was supposed to: establish legal notice. She'd signed for it, knew the rules, kept breaking them anyway. My lawyer started building two cases simultaneously. First, the criminal side, filing for a protective order with evidence showing repeated contact after being told to stop. Second, the civil side, drafting a complaint for defamation, tortious interference, and harassment. The edited video, the sabotaged job opportunities, the workplace calls, the photos and surveillance. Her attorney could try to bluff all they wanted. We had discovery waiting, phone records, account logs, devices, the whole digital trail she'd been leaving for over a year. 2 weeks after that, she showed up at my gym, same one I'd switched to months ago, the one across town that she shouldn't have known about because I'd told almost nobody where I was working out. She walked right into the first trap. The cease and desist had been clear. Any contact was a violation. Every move after that letter was evidence. I didn't engage, didn't say a word to her. I finished my set, walked calmly to the front desk, and told them there was someone in the building who'd been legally ordered to stay away from me. Showed them the certified mail receipt proving she'd been served. Showed them her photo on my phone so they knew exactly who to look for. They found her on the treadmills. Asked her to leave. She argued, said she was just working out, and this is a public gym, and he can't just ban me from places I have every right to be. They didn't care. They walked her out and told her not to come back. Private business, private rules. I filed a police report that afternoon. Another timestamp. Another document showing she couldn't help herself. 3 weeks later, she called my workplace directly, asked for my supervisor by name, told them she was concerned about my behavior and that I'd been harassing her and her husband, that she feared for her safety. Second trap. Same pattern. She kept thinking she was clever. She was just predictable. She cried on the phone apparently. Very convincing performance. My supervisor called me in. He looked confused and a little concerned. I pulled up the folder, showed him everything. The original HR complaint from months ago that had already been investigated and dismissed. The cease and desist with her signature. The police report with case number. The gym incident with witness statements. He looked at the documents for a long time. Then he closed the laptop. This woman needs to stop calling here. HR logged it as a second malicious complaint from the same source. They sent her a formal letter on company letterhead, telling her that any further contact would be treated as harassment and referred to legal counsel. Added that to the folder. Page 120-something by then. Then I filed for a restraining order. Courts don't hand these out easily. You need proof of credible threat, repeated contact after being told to stop, and a pattern that shows it's not just a personal dispute. But I had timestamps going back over a year. Certified mail with her signature. A police report with case number. HR documentation from 2 separate incidents. Witnesses from the gym. A folder that would make any prosecutor or judge take this seriously. The judge reviewed everything in the temporary hearing. Granted a temporary restraining order on the spot. Full hearing scheduled for 3 weeks out. Kelsey didn't show up to the full hearing. She was properly served but didn't appear. Didn't send a lawyer. Didn't contest any of the evidence. Gavin did show up, though. I saw him when I walked into the courtroom. He sat in the back row, looking like he'd aged 5 years in the 3 months since his wedding. Didn't say anything. Didn't try to talk to me before or after. Just sat there and watched as I presented my evidence and answered the judge's questions. The judge reviewed everything methodically, granted a full 1-year protective order without hesitation. No contact in any form, no approaching within 100 yards, no third-party contact, no electronic communication, no showing up at my residence, workplace, or any establishments I'm known to frequent regularly. Violations would result in immediate arrest. Gavin left before I did. Didn't make eye contact on his way out. Just walked out with his head down like he was leaving a funeral. 2 days later, building management called. Someone had tried to enter using a guest code that had been deactivated months ago. Security footage showed it was Kelsey. She'd tried 3 different times, got denied each time, stood in the lobby looking frustrated, then finally left. Third trap. She was compulsive. Couldn't stay away even when staying away was the only move that wouldn't destroy her. I forwarded the security footage to the police. Added to the existing case file. Building management sent her a formal trespass notice. Another document for the folder. Another timestamp. A week after that, she violated the restraining order. Fourth trap. The judge was starting to see what I'd been documenting all along. This person doesn't stop. Showed up at my coffee shop, sat down at a table 2 tables away from mine, didn't say anything, just sat there with her phone, watching me out of the corner of her eye like she thought she was being subtle. I didn't engage. I took a photo of her sitting there with my table visible in the frame. Timestamp automatically embedded. Noted the exact time. Packed up my stuff and left immediately. Called the police from my car. They sent an officer within 10 minutes. She was gone by the time they arrived, but I had the photo with the timestamp and location data. They filed an official violation report. Judge reviewed the violation report and the photo evidence. Looked at the pattern, cease and desist violated, gym appearance, workplace call, building attempt, now coffee shop. 5 separate incidents in 3 months. The judge stopped seeing messy situation and started seeing this person is compulsive. Signed off on an arrest warrant that same day. She turned herself in 3 days later with a lawyer in tow. Posted bail of $5,000. Court date set for 3 weeks out. The weeks before court were the quietest I'd experienced in over a year. No messages, no sightings, just silence. But I knew better. People like Kelsey don't stop. They regroup. I stayed vigilant, kept documenting, kept checking mirrors. The restraining order was paper. Paper doesn't stop someone determined. Just gives you ammunition when they try. Restraining order violation went to court Tuesday morning, late fall. I showed up early, folder in hand, dressed professional. Kelsey pled no contest. $2,000 fine, mandatory counseling for 6 months, probation for a year. Judge gave her a stern lecture about the pattern of behavior he'd observed. The gym, the workplace, the building, the coffee shop. Every violation documented with timestamps and witnesses. He told her if she appeared before him again for anything related to this case, she'd be looking at actual jail time. 60 days minimum. The probation terms were strict. Any further contact, direct or indirect, would result in immediate arrest, and he'd personally remand her into custody pending hearing. His tone made it crystal clear. He wasn't bluffing. Restraining order extended to 2 years with enhanced penalties. Should have been the end. It wasn't. Gavin's divorce got messy. Kelsey tried claiming he was controlling and emotionally abusive. Hired a lawyer who specialized in painting men as villains. Tried getting alimony, the apartment, half of everything. But that paper trail I'd built didn't just help me. It helped him too. His divorce lawyer got copies of everything. Police reports, restraining order, HR complaints, timestamps, certified letters, arrest, conviction. Box of photos Gavin found. The creepy notes documenting my life. My civil suit was moving forward simultaneously. Her attorney tried to bluff. My attorney dropped the binder on the table and said one word, discovery. Suddenly, she was facing subpoenas for phone records, social media accounts, deleted messages, device logs. Everything she'd hidden was about to become court exhibits. She couldn't claim she was the victim when there were court documents showing harassment patterns that started before she even met Gavin. Couldn't claim she was innocent when there was a judicial finding that she was a stalker. Couldn't hide behind anxiety when discovery would pull every calculated move into daylight. Her lawyer advised settlement. We reached one. Undisclosed amount that covered my legal fees, and then some, plus enhanced no-contact provisions with automatic penalties for violations. She signed without contest. Interlude, Brotherhood. 3 days after the settlement, Gavin showed up at my place. Didn't text first. Just pulled into my driveway around 7 p.m. on a Tuesday. I saw his headlights through the window and knew immediately who it was. I opened the garage door. He got out carrying a cardboard box and a flash drive. He looked like he'd aged a decade. Hollow eyes, shoulders slumped, the kind of tired that comes from realizing you've been living with a stranger who studied you like a science project. He set the box on my workbench. Didn't say anything at first, just stood there looking at it like it might bite him. Found this in our closet. Photos of you. Schedules. Printed emails. A whole filing system. His voice was flat. The flash drive has the rest. Secret email account. Notes about your routines. Messages to other guys while we were dating. She was planning this before she even met me. I looked at the box. Didn't open it. I'd already seen enough in my own folder. I picked comfort, he said. When you showed me the evidence, I picked believing her because it was easier. Because I didn't want to see what I'd married. I didn't respond right away. Just stood there in the garage with the overhead light buzzing and his confession hanging in the air between us. We're not back to normal, I finally said. But I won't leave you in the fire. You need this for your divorce. I need it for my case. Let's make it count. He nodded. No excuses, no long apology speech, just acknowledgement. We spent the next 2 hours labeling exhibits, organizing files by date, cross-referencing his discovery with mine, creating a timeline that showed she'd been documenting me before she'd even said, "I love you" to him. Every photo got tagged, every note got scanned, every message got timestamped. It was mechanical, procedural, two guys building evidence folders at a workbench like we were cataloging parts for an engine rebuild. When we finished, he sealed the copies in an envelope addressed to his lawyer. I kept duplicates for mine. He left without much ceremony, just a nod, an understanding that this was transactional, not reconciliation. A month later, the divorce finalized. Divorce went through without her getting anything significant. No alimony. Fair split of joint assets. Early spring, 4 months after the violation conviction. I heard she'd been telling people I was the reason her marriage fell apart, that I'd poisoned Gavin against her with my obsessive documentation, that I was the real stalker. Some people believed her initially. The ones who didn't know the full story only heard her side. But court records are public. People started looking them up, seeing the protective order, the violation, the arrest, the conviction, the civil settlement, the divorce documents referencing credible evidence of stalking behavior predating the marriage. The narrative flipped quietly. No dramatic callouts, just people connecting dots. Mutual friends who'd gone silent started reaching out again, apologetic. The group chat that had frozen me out suddenly had messages like, "Holy shit, I had no idea," and "Man, I'm sorry we didn't listen." I didn't gloat. Didn't need to. The people who mattered knew the truth. The ones who'd seen the folder, been in that courtroom, watched her get arrested, read the court findings that proved everything I'd said from day one. She lost her marriage, her money, her social circle, and her mask. All because she couldn't accept that I wasn't interested. Here's the tightened version. 3 weeks after the divorce finalized, I saw her one last time. Different grocery store. Different part of town. I'd gotten good at unpredictability. Produce section, grabbing apples, when I felt that familiar prickle on the back of my neck. There she was. End of the aisle, cart in front of her. Not pretending to shop, just staring at me across 30 feet of vegetables. She started walking toward me. I pulled out my phone, started recording. She stopped about 10 feet away. "You ruined my life." I didn't lower the phone. "You ruined your own life. I just documented it. I loved you. From the moment I saw you at that party. And you treated me like I was nothing. I talked to you for 10 minutes at a party. That's not love. You invented a relationship that never existed and stalked me for over a year because I wouldn't play along." Her face twitched. "You could have just given me a chance. I don't owe you anything. Not my time. Not my attention. And definitely not a chance." She took a step forward. I raised my voice just enough that other shoppers looked over. "You're violating a restraining order right now. Cameras everywhere. I'm recording. One more step and you go to jail." The judge was clear about that. She stopped. Then something broke behind her eyes. Not dramatically. Just a small shift, like a light going out. She turned around, abandoned her cart, walked out without another word. I kept recording until she was gone, called police. They took my statement, reviewed footage, added it to the file. She tried to make me look dangerous. I made it official. Haven't seen Kelsey in over a year now. No accounts, no sightings. No messages. No Polaroids. Update. Divorce is finalized and Kelsey is finally out of the picture. Quiet for once. Then Gavin shows up at my place unannounced. No text, no, "You home?" Just him in my driveway like he knows if he gives me time, I'll say no. He looks wrecked. Not dramatic, just depleted. The kind of tired you get when you realize you blew up your own life and dragged someone else's down with it. He doesn't try to explain her. Doesn't defend himself. He just says he's sorry. Says he picked the easy lie over the ugly truth when I warned him. Says he let a woman he barely knew get between 14 years of friendship. Then he straight up asks for it back. Not, "Let's be cool." Not, "Can we talk sometimes?" He asks if I can forgive him and be close again, like before. He says he'll do whatever it takes, and he means it in that embarrassing, no pride left way. And I'm standing there thinking, I miss my friend, but I also remember being treated like the villain while he played house with my stalker. So, Reddit, do I forgive him and rebuild? Or is "I'm sorry" just too late when he watched my life get trashed and still told me to let it go? Guys, we are so close to hit 100,000 subscribers on this channel. If you are not subscribed to the channel, please consider subscribing. It really helps hit that 100,000 mark. Thanks for making this dream come true.